Hello, everyone. Welcome to Education in Our Community. I'm your host today, Nadira Ade. Our show is going to be about women living passionately at all ages. Our guests are Denise Smith, who is the owner of Royal Realtors and Loan Services and author of Rags to Real Estate; Jerry Lange, author of Jerry, A Black Woman's Life in the Media; and Noble Fields, director of the Noble Fields School of Real Estate. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to be here.
Nice to be here.
So I called this conversation today because I wanted to know about women living passionately at all ages from women who are doing it. And so my first question for you is, what does living well or living passionately mean to each of you?
Well,
would like to start
me, I'd like to tell you, to me, it's not having to worry or stress out about finance. That's the first thing, and it's really important. Also, being able to invite people that you know and love to whatever you have going. Because if you don't have people that you can say, would you like to go to this banquet, or would you like to do this, there's nobody want to be around you. And even when I have dinner, I have to have someone to have lunch with me, even if they are not ready. But basically, that's how I feel about your question.
That's wonderful.
Okay?
Well, I can speak for Noble as a friend of hers. This woman is so gracious. First, I think there's a graciousness that women get as you get older. You know, you used to hop around when you're young and everything. But if you notice, when a woman ages, I call it beautifully, they begin to relax because, oh, well, I've been there, done that. Somebody talks about traveling. You're not uncomfortable because you've probably been there. And as far as Noble is concerned, her whole thing is she lives from her heart. And when you ask the thing about this, how do you live passionately? No one is passionate about anything if they're not into their heart. And people think it's easy to get there. It's not easy to get there because everything that we see, hear, and feel around us is not about our hearts. It's about how much you accumulate. That doesn't mean anything. You know, these things don't mean anything. They're there to help you get to where you're going. But I think the way a senior woman who has been through a few experiences understands early on that the way to live a beautiful, humble life is to live from the heart. And if you start, the earlier you start, the better it feels. So I would say starting and living from the heart is, to me, brings the joy that you have as you age.
I totally agree. Thank you so much for helping me out on that, Jerry.
That's all right.
The good questions.
I think that if you do what you love to do, and that's what I do. I do what I love to do. I love to sell real estate. I love people, and I just enjoy life. So I enjoy the people that I work with and just really have fun while I'm doing it, rather than, you know, sometimes it's kind of grueling when you're always doing something you really don't like to do. You feel like you go to a job that you don't like to do. You're around people that you don't like to be with. You want to be around people you enjoy, and you want to have fun, and you want to just be passionate about what you're doing and love to do it. Not just say it, but love what you're doing.
Okay, and so how do you find what you love? Because the first thing that you do is an experiment sometimes. You don't know if you're going to like it or if you want to stick with it, but how do you find what you love?
Seek and you shall find.
I agree, and let me share my findings. Well, first of all, as you can see, my outlook on life came in a uniform. I saw these two Caucasian ladies walking down the street in this beautiful blue uniforms, so they got my attention. And of course, I asked my mother about it, and she says, well, those are girls in the Navy, Noble. And since we work downtown near the recruiting station, our boss says, why don't you go around there and talk about it? That means find out if I can get into the Navy, which I did. Went around a couple of times and got all the information. I tried to take the test and failed. Then I went back again and tried to take the test and failed. Well, as I'm coming in and out of the recruiting station, the Army girl recruiter saw me and she says, hi, weren't you in here last month or something? I said, yes. She says, what field are you looking for? Well, there was no field I had in mind because I was, in Fresno in 1953. So, yeah, 1953. And I says, well, no, I just wanted to wear a blue uniform. Oh, and the nurse said, she says, well, we have blue uniforms, and we have a test that might not be as difficult for you. Come on in and try it. So with all sincerity, I went in and I passed the Army test. And then all of a sudden, I was on an airplane going to Fort McClellan, Alabama. And I was excited, and I didn't worry about anything. That lifted me up out of what I would say, not poverty, more or less, but it did get me away from Fresno, the cotton and the grapes, and that was a great outlook for me. I enjoyed it, and I got there and stayed, well, let's just say I stayed 20 years, and it's all over just about. So I'm a retired staff sergeant now, and I've enjoyed that. I'm humble. I'm happy. I've retired from that, and I just fell into the field of real estate by not even looking. I was buying property in Oakland from some of the gentlemen that were in real estate, Mr. Provost, as a matter of fact. And he asked me to join his company when I did get out of the service because he thought I was a good speaker. And based on what he had encouraged me to do, in the next 8 years I did retire from the service. And I worked for them, and it was really exciting. Now, this was real estate. I didn't even look for that, but I knew I had a great career in the service, which I really enjoyed. It went by so fast that 20 years is just time gone. I hope that people realize that it's just like yesterday. Yeah. But at any rate, I got into real estate, and I was as excited as I was in the service. So I would show people property. I'd drive around and just really on a Sunday when the family was together, and I'd show them property that we had listed, but nobody was buying. Now this was back when they was really giving it away, because if they didn't buy it, I'd ask my broker, could I buy it? And they said, well, sure, no, but you can buy it and commission down. That means when you make a commission from the property you're selling, you can have it as your down payment. And of course, I enjoyed it and went on for about 40 times I'm showing property to people who weren't buying. I never sold anything, but I bought it. And with that in mind, if anybody can comprehend, if you buy 40 pieces of real estate and then sell some of it, you've started your little nest egg. And in real estate is a noble field. I even had...
Like your name.
My name. It's really gratifying to know that a real estate will make you or break you, but you've got to have input. You've got to want to do it. And I just love doing it, just like my colleague over here, Denise. She's obtained a lot of good benefits from real estate, and without boasting or being facetious, I don't work anymore unless I have to.
You just have fun.
I have exactly what you guys said about me. I really enjoy that. I'm here to share.
You know, I started my first show on television after I left the mayor's office in San Francisco. I was the first black woman to work for the mayor in San Francisco, Jack Shelley. And when I was over at Kaiser Broadcasting station, I was just coming on. And of course, what I had to do, my job was to go out into the community, have luncheons with different facets of the community, because at that time, the station couldn't get its license until they did something for each community that it had to be represented. Now you see, there's this trick about what happened to that. I put it in my book, that they went, after a while, they got tired of catering to everybody, you know, the elderly, the seniors, and each the Latinos, African Americans, everything. They couldn't stay on the air without getting approval every year. Do you know they no longer have to do that? Wow. And the reason they don't have to do it is they start voting the right people on the FCC commission, people who their terms were up on 5 years. Well, they start putting people in, and by the time they got that packed, evidently, they voted again, and they wrote letters each year. Could we go do this every 2 years? That we go to the people and they have to sign. Next time we looked up, every 3 years, every 4 years, every 5 years. And then now they don't have to go at all. They can go on the air without representing anybody. I mean, they can do whatever they want and throw it in something to look good, you know, but they're not they're not commanded by law.
Okay.
That you cannot, and look what a different TV shows we would have now if that still was going on, because that determined what they could put on in front of children, and now they put anything they want on in front of children. But I want to get back to the fact that I think one of the first people that showed up on my show, she called me up and said, "You know what? I'm just out of the military, and I'm running a real estate school, and I'd like very much to come on your show and tell people, first of all, about a black woman in the military, which is wonderful, and then we could get into the school I'm running, because I would like to advertise for all people of color and everyone else to come on." So Noble came on not only once. I said, "Well, geez, you're really good. Can you come on once a month?"
Wow.
And so she came on once a month for how, what?
That was great.
Yeah, remember, it was almost a year you came on. She came on,
Yes.
you come on once a month, and it was perfect because I had other people that wanted to come on that had continuing stories to tell.
Okay.
And it made my program nice because then the person would come and know there's a regular going to be on. Well, I'll come on, and I want to hear about that person. Well, I'm sure she's sold a lot of people on going into real estate by telling them how easy it was, or even though you fail, you can come back and take the test again.
Okay.
See, so
brings-
that was how we met.
And that brings back a lot of memories.
1970.
Remember
You've been
the-
doing shows together for years.
Yeah, I was 17.
Remember, this is a senior show too, right?
Yeah.
Senior.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we've been friends and grown into our seniorhood. But I did want to tell you the little tricks in the trade of how I know people that are watching this show said, "My God, where did the Cosby Show go? Where did Father and his sons, the three sons, and where did well even I'm sure Desi and Lucy, I mean, we don't know what." My point is, you don't even see those shows anymore. You have to go to a channel that shows old-fashioned shows, and then when you come on and look at what they have on now, that young children are watching. Every other show, show me one show that you watch, how many times you have to turn the channel before you find a show that doesn't have a gun. Yes. Or they're talking about a gun, or they're talking about offing somebody, or they're in jail getting out, and it's about killing. And then these are the things that influence what's going on in our schools today. A gun is nothing anymore. Kids never used to pack guns. They packed the little pop guns. That's the most they ever thought of. They couldn't think of bringing it to school. Now, it's what everybody does. If they don't have that, they have a knife. Well, the media has to take responsibility for a lot of the things that are going on in the schools today, because young people are impressionable.
And that's something that you're passionate about.
And that's what I'm passionate about. That's what my book was about. But unless and until the people get up and say, enough is enough, I don't want my child watching this, I don't want to grow up in a world that has nothing but war on, we're going to deserve what we get.
How do you be a representative for a different kind of world? So kids and a lot of people, a lot of adults are seeing the world one way. How do you be a representative for another way of being, living passionately, living well, being peaceful within yourself? I'll start with you, Denise.
I just think that it's love. I think it was already mentioned by Miss Jerry, and I just really wanted to say how honored I am to be on this panel with my mentor, Miss Noble Fields, and also Miss Jerry. When she wrote her book, I just said I want to do that one day, and I know Miss Noble Fields did it, and I just believe that it's a blessing just to be on this show and with you.
Yes, it
just
is.
an up and coming, beautiful young lady. I'm just so proud. But I think that the main component is love. I really think love is something that we don't talk about often. And I think for even the children, children, they see a lot, and even when you talk to little young people and they talk about their teacher, or they talk about the principal, or they talk about the kids that are being mean to them. Right now we have bullies in the school, and I think that when you go to school and you have to be concerned with your life and concerned with different things that are taking place in the school, I just really think that the grandmothers are the ones. I was raised by my great-grandmother, and I believe that the reason why I am who I am today is because of my great-grandmother, and I believe that she gave me a component of love, and I think that that's really what we need to give to our young people.
And I think we're living in such a dangerous age with the social media now, where instead of the kids, if they didn't know any better, they would, we could train their minds by what we show them. They would be taking pictures of nature and animals and beautiful pictures of reunions, school reunions. So what are they doing? And why would they do this? They're taking pictures of girls nude, a sexual pornography, if you will, and they're down to 11 years old and 12 years old doing it. What are they going to be doing when they're 21? And what respect will they have for the schoolgirls? And these girls are going home, and a couple of them, the girls committed suicide. I think you read that.
About that.
Yes.
Because how can they face the world? They don't realize they could get over that, move away, whatever they had to do. But it's you can't handle those kind of problems when you're a teenager. And we shouldn't expect them to. And that was why I said we go back to the fact that the social media is now feeding into the media itself. And what we have is what we're going to get. And we've now legalized marijuana, and I don't want to have to tell you where that's going to lead. So we
true.
all have a job here to do. And for you, the youth coming in, if you can come in and, you have to start that dialogue within the new media people. The people coming in have to know that we can change the world by what we present on the air to somebody.
Yes.
And you're doing
One show can change it.
and you're doing a wonderful
And you're
job.
doing a wonderful,
Right.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Appreciate you very much.
So my next question is, so each of you has achieved quite a bit of success. How do you keep setting goals for yourself, or how do you find the next thing that you want to do?
Well, since I'm 80 years old, one of the older ones, I just don't waste time. That's the first thing you got to do. Don't waste time. And don't let anybody else waste your time. Don't just say somebody's supposed to come over and then they don't show up. You sat there and waited for them, and that's time gone. So I just keep everything's an agenda for me. Like I travel a lot when I'm not involved with a class or some kind of event here in the city. I just go to Texas, where my biggest part of my family is, in Fresno. I just really enjoy my life. And like Denise mentioned, she's happy, and love is all about it. Love is the main thing that you have to really keep on the front burner. And based on that, I'm just happy to do whatever I can for whomever needs the service that I provide, which is now in real estate.
Okay.
Well,
Okay,
I
Gerald?
think that's absolutely, and you're succeeding really tremendously. We have to be role models. We have to give back every one of us here, and all the other girls. I remember one of the girls at Channel 7, when I didn't even remember that she said, she's an anchor now over at Channel 7, and she said, Jerry, do you remember when you, and then she named 3 other people, were out in the audience, no, were being interviewed, just like you were interviewing, but it was in a large auditorium, and all these are students. I think we were out at San Francisco State in the Broadcast Communication Arts Department, which I later taught at. And she said, I got up and I raised my hand in the audience and said, I'd like to ask each one of you, do you think that I have a chance to become an anchor? And she said, and all 3 of you gave such a positive answer to the question. And so she's over there, Cheryl Jennings.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even know that I would see Cheryl Jennings on the air, but then I went over there to do a radio show, and the girl said, before you leave, there's somebody upstairs said, don't leave till she comes down. She wants to say something to you. I said, well, I don't know anybody upstairs, And here comes Cheryl Jennings coming down saying, Jerry, I remember you, and she named the other 2 ladies that I was with, whose name escapes me at the moment. But she said, when she told me, I said, oh my God, I haven't heard those names in ages. And she said, because of the 3 of you, I'm sitting as an anchor upstairs, and I didn't want you to leave the studio, which was the radio station downstairs. So I'm saying, don't underestimate the impact you make. Sometimes people are shy and don't want to even talk, they don't want to see it, but they watch you. They watch what you do, they watch how you, she doesn't, she wears these clothes that are kind of conservative, and if she's going to do a business show, she wears a suit or whatever. But the point is, you're always being watched. And we have a responsibility, not only thankfully to those who came before us, but we have a great responsibility to those who come after us to pave the way so that they don't have to go through the things that we went through. And that is what life is about in whether it's the medical profession, it doesn't matter the profession. The truth is, in Hollywood is a perfect example. They have mentors down there that teach those kids coming into Hollywood because they have so many other things to deal with other than making pictures. Okay?
That sounds real good.
Yeah, it sounds real good,
It
but
sounds
we all
real
let
good.
our imagination go. I mean, they don't get on drugs for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand you mentioned something about giving back. Who was talking? You repeat that again? Did you indicate something about giving back? What we're doing to give back?
Well,
What was that question?
how do you give back?
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
The reason
How
I
do
I
you-
mentioned that, I have no reason to give back. I've always been a giver. I've never had any help. My parents were just, sharecroppers and whatever you want to have. Or say, I was giving all the time, and it's nothing wrong with what we said about giving back, because a lot of people have gotten something from somebody or some company or organization to give back and feel it. But under my roof, I don't feel it, but I like to give it.
Okay.
So we mentioned something about I want to give to people. I like that, but I have nothing to give back
Yeah.
because I never got anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's bringing up a wonderful point, because there are a lot of people who do not feel obligated to give back. They go in and they're a one-man show. I'm going in here and I'm going to make it to the network. And so they're focused on you've seen people in whatever profession, if it's a medical profession. I always look at these doctors that rush in to go work with the people who have what's the latest disease? Ebola.
Ebola.
These are people of every race. They're white, Asian, whatever, from all different countries, rushing into the thing that other people are running from. It's like a fire, when the building's coming down, you're running out and the firemen are running up. And these are people, and these are unknown heroes. They're just ordinary people. A doctor can work anywhere in the world. Why would he run to give something to somebody that people got masks on and everything else?
Yeah.
And you see, we don't stop to think about, who are these people? These people are heroes. These people went through something to get to the point where they were developed enough to say,
I'll give back.
I'm going in and I'm giving it, and I may get Ebola. Now, you have to go in with that.
And they're
Those
giving back.
people, see now, if I had a show, I would be finding all these people doing all these things, wonderful things, and people start taking them for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, the firemen who ran up that thing, 9/11,
Yeah.
when they knew they were running to their death.
Yeah.
What kind of man is that? I would like to know, and I'd like to find the fireman. We need to talk
That's
to them.
somebody who's really open.
Who's really helping and who knew
Passionate
these
Yes.
men.
what they're doing.
Yes,
Yes.
and we don't
Who's
find out enough,
committed.
and that's the kind of thing we don't have hero worship on TV.
Yeah.
We just do a 2-minute story on them and they're gone.
Yeah.
But if you do something really sexy and great and moving again, oh my God, they can't get enough of that camera. Stays on you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be winding down soon, but I'd like to know from each of you how you stay open. How do you remain open to new experiences, new opportunities in the world, Denise?
Every day I wake up, I always wake up with, there's a high expectation of something good that's going to happen. Every single day. And even though maybe everything doesn't work out like you think it's going to work out, my thoughts is success is an attitude. It's an attitude of knowing that something good is going to happen. And even though, again, sometimes things do not work out.
That's right.
But as long as you wake up with a positive attitude saying, thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning. Thank you for letting me see the trees. Thank you for letting me have a smile on my face. Thank you for letting me have my 5 senses. Thank you for just giving me everything that you would want me to have. Fill me up. I'm just the empty vessel. Make me, mold me who you want me to be. I'm just excited about waking up in the morning. I'm just thankful. I really,
beautiful.
because I know that it's not because I'm so wonderful and great that I'm still here. But while I'm here, I want to be able to tell somebody that they can do it too. They
Yeah.
can, just what I'm doing, they could do it as well. Just as these ladies inspire me, and I say, I want to get there, I want to get there. And I hope that God allows me to get to where they are. That's what inspires me every day.
You're already there.
What about
it
you,
is
Miss Jerry?
Well, I wake up. We're talking about it. When do you do this? Well, at 89, I better do it. You know what I mean?
You outrank me.
I'm up there every morning I am full of joy, number one, that I have lived this long. I feel very fortunate and very lucky that I have lived this long and been able to give what little I have to someone else. And I'm literally wake up in the morning before my coffee time. Okay, what's on the agenda today? You know, and I'm like, and I tell you, I do tune into the universe. I really do. I tune into, we know that God's up there and he has a job for us to do. I call him the King of Kings.
That's right.
And I
Lord
said,
of
the Lord of all. And I feel, and I think it's important to know, and you brought it up too, to be thankful for what he gives. If he doesn't give you $1 million check in the mail, we ain't talking about that. We're talking about you give us our health, give us our strength, and I can't count, the friends you have, the family you have. I have nieces, you know, and they're all just, I'm the matriarch of the family now. See, I lost my siblings, my brother and my 2 sisters. And so they're so kind to me. They the motive, they went over to me, okay, Aunt Debbie, you're it, you know, and they mean it. They'll call me if there's a problem, you know. And I'm so, I think the thing is, we have to continually thank God for the little things before you get the big things. I wake up and I can still breathe. That to me is a miracle. I think our entire existence on this planet is a miracle.
Yeah.
And I revere life and I love it and I love everybody in it. Like I said,
Beautiful.
forgive everybody. I wake up in the morning, you're all forgiven. I don't know what you did.
Yeah.
You know, because hopefully somebody is forgiving me for something I did.
Yeah.
See, and that's a burden you don't want to carry. And the last thing I want to say is very important. When you wake up in the morning, get dressed, walk down the street, and a lot of people are scared to go out of their houses now. Well, who's going to do this and that and the other? What happens to you once you leave your home where you're safe?
Amen.
It's not going to be on you anymore. As long as you're not doing anything to anybody, you can't control what's going to happen. Some crazy driver going down the street. Forgive him. He may have had a bad morning. His wife and him had an argument. Whatever it is, I don't want to know. I forgive you.
Yeah.
Because you have to forgive everybody, including yourself.
Yeah.
And that way, it gives you the power and the strength that these ladies have. That says, well, I can go out and move forward.
Yeah.
They're not afraid because guess what? They're only accountable for what they do to the guy that calls them the N-word, for instance. Do you want to have a fight? You want to pull out a knife? You want a gun, whatever? Or do you want to say, bless you, brother?
Yeah.
And go on. Nice to see you. And
Yes.
keep on going. And you have blessed him and yourself. And so I
Okay.
think these are the things, and they should be teaching this. They have a medium now called television that it would be so easy to teach young people. Get the idea in their head.
Right.
Because when they get a certain age, you can't talk to them anymore.
So we are going to be drawing to a close. Thank you to everyone who's participated in the show today. And I'm hoping that this will be the first of many conversations like this. Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Noble
I
and
thank
Ms.
you.
Jerry.
It was a pleasure.
And to Denise. And I hope that we get to hear a little bit more about all of the things that you're doing in
There's
the
a
future.
lot
Well, you're an excellent host.
And there's a
Thank
lot to
you.
be said. There's a lot more to come.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yes, there's
Absolutely.
more to this conversation.
Thank
Much
you.
more to be had.
Thank you for